Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so look, third night's a charm, right? This is the third night that we've got this PC here in front of us. Now, I'm 99% sure at this stage that I've worked out what the issue is. So if you haven't caught the last few nights, basically we've had all sorts of random problems with this PC. We've pulled like everything off it and we've tested everything, and graphics card's fine, the Wi-Fi's fine, the RAM's fine, the power's fine, there's no drives or anything connected to it that are causing any conflicts or anything like that. The CPU seems to be the problem, and while I did test two other CPUs on this motherboard, they were Ryzen 5000 CPUs, and it is actually a B450 motherboard. And I realized, I'm like, because to back things up, I was saying that there's basically almost a zero chance of both the CPU and the motherboard both being faulty at the same time. Like, if that happens to me, I'm totally going and buying a lotto ticket or something like that. Because my odds, I've just kicked some serious, like, probability goals there, right? Like, the chance of, like, a CPU has a low failure rate, and then you're timesing that failure rate by the failure rate of a motherboard. And so then your odds are just ridiculous at that stage. So yeah, I really would, if it was actually true. Now I reckon that's bullshit. So I didn't have a Ryzen 3000 CPU to test on it. I do have that now. It actually worked out well, because this old 5600X CPU that I had been using, the one with snapped pins and that I'd got and repaired and stuff like that, I bent another pin, and then as I was repairing it, another one of them snapped off, because, like I said, I've already repaired the pins on this multiple times from being bent. What's up, babe?
Oh, I accidentally knocked it off the thing. I was trying to zoom in.
Oh,
My bad.
yeah. So, unfortunately, there was a bit of metal fatigue on a lot of the pins, and so it didn't take much when I was attempting to repair a couple of pins for another couple to fall off while I was attempting to repair two others. So I needed to get a new AM4 CPU for the test bench here. So it worked out, and I made sure I got a Ryzen 3000 chip. So I have a Ryzen 3200G here.
What the hell was that?
What's that? I don't know. Underwood Neighbourly chats. I'm not looking at anything.
No, I know that. I was just like, what? Anyway.
There's a picture of someone advertising their cosmetics business, so I'm just like, I'm not looking at any. I'm not looking at any chicks. I'm not looking at any chicks. All right. I'm not looking at any chicks. You'll know how it is, right? All right. Sorry. This customer is using 4 SATA devices with SATA data cables. And we've got I think it's a 2070 Super, if I remember right. That's our graphics card. And it's a ROG Strix B450F gaming. So gaming without the Wi-Fi, so not the Wi-Fi version. And we had a 3800X on here. Now, like I said, I'm pretty confident that we've got a toast CPU. Now, when I say toast, I mean like the same way that your nana or something like that would say toast. Oh, it's toast. You know, the bogan version of that.
It's cactus.
Yeah, it's cactus. Yeah, it's another one.
I don't understand why they name that car Cactus in the Australian market.
That's hilarious. The Citron. If you don't know about this, you probably need to go look this up. Okay, have a look at the Citron Cactus. They marketed a car in Australia called the Cactus. It sounds like an April Fool's joke. It's not. I swear it's not. Go check it out. They're a real thing. I've actually seen them on the road. I'm just like, holy shit.
It's even funnier when they like either have a yellow one or a green one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mate, you're in the way. Taking the limelight.
Okay, so Fluffy Mao, you might have to move, mate, because I'm gonna have to lay this down.
Oh, I was trying to move him from front and center, but
I'm gonna have to move this. All right. So, what we should be expecting from this system now is a post.
Fluffy Mao.
He just wants food. He wants another Fluffy Mao tin, which is what we call John West salmon.
John West is the best, right?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Well, Buddy would say that.
It's the fish that John West reject that make John West the best. Hey, yeah, that's what we say around here.
Well, you might get copyrighted for.
Oh, I don't think no, not for saying a slogan. We won't. No. I'm not using it to advertise my brand. I'm just using it. It's fair use. I can say that because it's like basically part of Australian culture at this stage. So
Yes.
let me. Let me just fix up our front panel cables because I pulled like everything off this board.
That's cool. Check this out. This is the fish tank one, but they put an LCD screen in the middle there that shows you windows.
Oh yeah.
You know what one I'm talking about.
Yes.
I want to upgrade my PC.
Okay, so got everything all hooked up over here. So I don't have a cooler on it, but if I'm right, wait, dude, don't put your tail in the CPU. that is a first and final around here, mate. Now you are employee of the month, but that is a first. That is a first and final. All right. So what I'm expecting now is for it to turn on and for us to get a post. So I can turn it on for just a second without the cooler on or anything like that. I just want to see it post. Show me a post. Won't it be embarrassing if it's not this?
I didn't even. Oh.
It's a post. I was right.
Winner, winner.
I was right.
Chicken dinner.
I was right. There we go. Okay, so we have a few steps to do now. So I'm gonna chuck this cooler back on.
Ow. Just ow. Stupid fucking bug.
Okay, that should be enough. Doesn't need to be perfect. We don't have a high-powered CPU on here or anything like that. Oh yeah, yeah. And I'll tidy up these cables and stuff with this when we install our actual CPU. So step one over here is actually getting a new BIOS.
Oh, I just pushed it onto the thing.
Here we are. Alrighty, so we're moving up from, geez, nearly 4 years.
Oh shit.
Coming from 2019 up to 2023.
Shit.
3.5 years.
That's like a while.
So it's definitely getting a bit of an update here. And this update will allow us to run our Ryzen 7 5700X here. So it's going to be a replacement for our faulty 3800X. So, look, it took a little bit of messing around with this one. It was a bit of a weird one. CPU failures are one of the hardest things to diagnose. If you don't have spare CPUs, or if you're not like in a position where you can just sort of go buy a CPU easily and it not be a big deal and stuff like that, it can end up costing you a lot of money. And if you're unaware of you know how what the BIOS updates are like for different boards and what CPUs are compatible with different boards before certain dates, all of that mess, you might end up buying a CPU that won't work with it. Because I tried a 5600 and a 5600X in this and it didn't post. But the reason why I had a suspicion it was something like this was the 3800X, the dead CPU, did the same thing on both motherboards, on my test bench and in this computer. And then when I used the other two CPUs on this motherboard, they both did something, but it was completely different to what the other CPU was doing. And I'm like, why would we be seeing that? And then it sort of just dawned on me. I'm like, I betcha this is a case of BIOS update. So once we do this BIOS update, it's going to be compatible with Ryzen 5000 series. So we're going to be able to use our 5700X. And that's good news anyway, because that's a good upgrade on top of a 38 from a 3800X to a 5700X is a good upgrade. Like, I don't know, we may or may not have access to Windows with this. I'd say I probably won't. But that's okay. And then we got another one that's come in, just a walk-in. Sounds like there's just like a dead cooler or something weird. They're saying they're getting it's cutting off like after they've been gaming a little bit, which is a little bit like the other one that we've had recently. But yeah, I couldn't recreate that problem. I left it running for another couple of hours after the live stream ended last night, and it wasn't failing. At one stage, I thought it was failing, and I got excited because it was actually failing, and would have meant that I would have recreated the problem. But no, it was this little puppy dog thing decided to chew on the HDMI cable. Yeah, it chewed through the HDMI cable, made the screen all go all fucking blurry for me. Stupid dog.
She didn't know what she was doing.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She's really cute. That's why I give her shit. How dare she make me feel feelings?
How dare she make you buy an $8 cable?
Yeah. Bought the wrong fucking length.
Well, that can be forgiven. I thought it was about 3 meters too, but obviously it's like more than it's about 3.5, 4.
With the cable management, it's that. Mm-hmm. Alrighty, system will be reset. So that's good. I mean, if you went to just any old PC place, they'd probably be quite happy just to tell you that, oh, your motherboard's fucked, your CPU's fucked, you need a whole new thing of everything. Whereas you come through me, you might pay a little bit extra. But I've just saved you buying a new $300+ motherboard.
And you get to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a bit of entertainment / educational content for people. It's perfect for people just, wanting to learn a little bit more about what they're doing. Okay, so look, assuming we don't have any strange issues here, we'll just turn on that XMP profile, just make sure it posts and all that. And are we gonna boot into Windows? Looks like we are. CSM launching. Are we booting off a hard drive? I feel like we're booting off a hard drive.
He'll fuck you up one day, little one.
He's a fluffy mouse. He's got sharp claws.
And very, very pointy teeth.
Yeah. I swear we're booting off a hard drive here. But we got SSDs. I can see one. CSM launches. That's why you get the little blinking cursor up the top there. That's what that is. So you will typically see that when you're using like an older install of Windows or Windows that's been set up on an older computer and you've moved it over to a new computer. It seems a bit better here. It might just be slow because it's, I don't know, loading compatibility drivers for the onboard graphics 3200G. Not that we're using them, we're hooked up through the graphics card. Alrighty, so yeah, our 5700X, big step up from the 3800X, even though it's going from an 800 to a 700. The generational leap between Ryzen 5000 and Ryzen 3000 is enough that it doesn't matter. I mean, the 5600X, the Ryzen 5 6-core 12-thread would, you know, take on the 3800X, even with the extra cores and threads. Might not quite get there on multi-thread, but it beats it single core. So the 5600X is faster with like a 3080 compared to if it was with a 3080 was with a 3800X. So it is a step up. And yeah, with the with it being the same core and thread count as the 3800X, it's gonna beat it in both metrics, multi-core and single core. So I mean, this is all doing things, which is nice. I like it when things do things. That's always the best. When things don't do things, that's not necessarily the best. It's a less than ideal situation. It's how politicians talk, right?
Sounds like there's a massive dog fight going on in the backyard.
No, there's just a possum.
Yeah.
You're coming up.
Wants it, and Mumu's like, "Oh my god, you want to play?" And she's like, "No, don't you see the possum?" But he doesn't because he's too dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, I swear we're booting off a hard drive here.
Working on updates.
Like that just seemed like a slow process. Yeah, like I don't want to. We don't need to get into the desktop here or anything. All we really wanted to do here was update the BIOS so we can install our replacement 8-core CPU. And did he have a... Yes, he did. He had a little sticker there. Put the updated... Why are you doing this straight?
Copy. Wow.
The Ryzen 5000 chip. Okay. So let's get this cleaned up a little bit. Okay. Alrighty, don't bend any of your pins. You know what that's like. It's always good fun. Spent all that time replacing pins, or sorry, trying to bend them back in place, I should say. Even I find that funny. Okay. So let's remove the back panel here as well. So this customer is actually pretty onto it when it comes to computers, because he keeps his PC on like 24/7, which is generally advantageous. So if you're gonna have problems with your PC, it normally happens after you've turned it off and turned it back on again. Things don't usually fail while you're actually using them. Certain types of failures do, but the kinds of failures that, critical failures will typically occur after you've turned on your computer, after it's been turned off for a while. Alrighty, so we've got memory in the right slots there. We just need to redirect these cables a little bit and redo the thermal paste. go, that's hidden away pretty nicely. Very nice, and then we'll just have these two cables here to deal with. Gonna need to clean off all of that old thermal. So thermal paste is a little bit, you can think of it simply as like a non-structural kind of concrete. So it's basically just a gap filler. It fills in little microscopic ridges and valleys on the bottom of the block there, because what is smooth to the touch of your fingers and what is actually smooth, like on a microscopic level, are two different things. So it feels nice and smooth to you, looks like it's pretty smooth. Actually, it's when you get it under a 30x microscope, it's actually quite the opposite of smooth. And so the thermal paste, it's not designed to keep anything cooler or anything like that. It's designed to enhance the contact between the lid of the CPU and the cooler block there. So it allows for better heat transfer between the cooler block and the CPU. So that's the role of the thermal compound. So you don't necessarily have to use shitloads of it or anything like that. You just have to use the right amount of it. Once you apply it, put a cooler on it, heat it up, then have it cool down or whatever. That's basically considered to be set.
Yeah, because the thermal paste sort of melts in a way.
Yeah, it sort of, as it heats up, it sort of melts and the viscosity decreases and it becomes like thinner. And it sort of spreads out a little bit more and melts into the cracks and stuff like that. And then after it's sort of heated up that first time, then you can kind of consider it to be set. And then if you break the seal, then you should definitely clean off the surfaces like I'm doing here. Just a bit of isopropyl alcohol. You can get this at JCar or at Bunnings or whatever. And basically clean it off your CPU lid and clean it off the base of your cooler, then just reapply your thermal paste.
Doesn't really matter what brand.
No, I mean they've done like various YouTube channels have done things where you can use toothpaste, you can use smooth peanut butter. You can basically use any sort of pasty thing like that. But I wouldn't recommend using food on your computer.
No.
What you can do, the point of it is that thermal paste lasts for years if you don't touch it and don't do anything with it. So it's not the sort of thing you have to keep redoing every like 6 months or something like that, or the thermal paste will go bad. It takes years for it to go bad unless the cooler gets knocked and it sort of breaks the seal on the thermal paste. So not too much of an issue there. Then we've just got these two cables here from the cooler. Everything else is nice and tidy. Yeah, it's the better version of your old one. So just FYI there.
That's cool.
Yeah, happy days. So any other cabling that we can just tidy up a little bit here while we've got the computer.
No, it's finally happening. Windows 10.
Yeah.
They're finally stopping updates.
Yeah, it's nearing the end of its life.
No, I don't like change.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, changes are coming.
Yeah. Like, I knew it was going to happen eventually, but I thought it would be like, you know, at least next year, not this year.
They did originally say till midway through 2025, but I think they've pushed that up because I don't think they've had enough uptake. There's a lot of people who are like you who don't want to update and want to resist the update, and unfortunately, that's not very good for business.
The current 22H2 will be the final version of Windows 10.
22H2 is going to be the final version.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, it's big security updates with Windows 11. That's what it's all about. That's why they're sort of pushing it. It's not some conspiracy to...
Windows 10 will reach end of support in October 2025. Using the current H2, 22H2 final version of Windows 10.
Yeah, so it's only getting updates. So they're still supporting it till 2025, which is what I had heard originally.
There's no updates.
There will be updates. There's just no new version of it. So every 6 months there's the big update for Windows.
Yeah.
And I make myself a new Windows update USB stick. Yeah, there won't be another one for Windows 10 now. This is what was out is it. That's it. There's no more. There's no new version. There's no big feature updates or anything else coming for Windows 10. But it will be supported with security updates till 2025. So yeah, like I said, that's what I'd heard anyway. So that falls in line with that. Alrighty, so just I mean, this has been investigated. There's no like perfect way of putting thermal paste on a CPU. I normally do a cross with a couple of blobs in between.
Doesn't want to be your friend.
He just doesn't, dude.
He doesn't understand dog body language.
So no matter what you do, the dog is going to think you're trying to fucking go him. Sorry, the cat's going to think you're trying to fucking go him. Because you're a little dog. Okay. There we go. What's up?
Oh, dog, she's got hiccups again.
Oh yeah, puppy hiccups. That's a common thing. That's a common thing with puppies. 99.999% of the time they grow out of it. Okay, so Ryzen 5000 CPU installed. BIOS was updated. Give it a second to post. memory training, and we have a post. Look at that.
Which one?
Alright, so enable XMP. Beautiful. Okay, so this PC is all good to go now.
Yay! I think the glass panels need a bit of thing though.
Yeah.
You see finger marks.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm just worried that we're booting off a hard drive, which I thought would be pretty weird. But no, this is all good to go. So yeah, a little bit of extra diagnosis. But yeah, save the customer a heap on a new motherboard, because there was nothing wrong with this motherboard. It just needed a BIOS update to talk to modern CPUs. So happy days. We can shut this one down, and then we can move on to our next repair project, which is a walk-in from this morning. Okay, so our next repair job. So this customer has bought this one in. Said he's having problems with it while he's gaming, or it's crashing or something like that. So saying it's lagging and all sorts of stuff like that. And so our specs here get a bit of light on it.
Oh, look, I'm just going to the kitchen. You don't have to find me everywhere.
3060 Ti.
We shall go to the kitchen.
Looks like an AMD board. Just a single stick of 8GB RAM, it looks like. So this is a budget build. We've got a EVGA 600 watt 80 plus gold. They're actually fairly cheap, those ones, I believe. I do have a password for it, so we can have a look at that. So let's see what we see with this one. Some of these ones that get bought in are a little bit strange. Sometimes you can't always read the problem exactly, and that's the challenge in doing this.
Oh, what the fuck?
What's up?
Oh, top.
Huh? What's
I
wrong?
hate how YouTube has top chat and live chat. It was on top chat, and I haven't seen any of the fucking comments.
Oh.
And I'm sitting here going, it's really fucking quiet tonight. What's going on here?
You're not even looking at the right list.
No!
Good stuff.
Oh,
Good stuff.
Gold star to Christine.
Christine's an awesome moderator, as if you haven't noticed already. She's top notch. She doesn't have anything to learn. I'm gonna get smacked.
Wait till later. You wonder why he's got all these cuts and stuff.
Alright, okay, so next PC here. Let's fire her up. Let's see what happens. Don't lose the little bit of paper with the customer's login details. So hopefully he doesn't have anything too sinister. Oh no, anime girls are okay. Alrighty, so what have we got here? We've got superposition installed, hardware monitors installed. Okay.
No, oh babe, you're at 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh wow, 1,000! I hit 1,000.
Yes.
Oh, how cool's that? 1,000 subs on YouTube. That took ages. A lot of people say it's hard to get that first 1,000 on YouTube. So, oh man, that's really cool. Yes, if you haven't subscribed to the Tim's PC YouTube channel, you should go and check that out right now, below the screen. There's a button there, it says subscribe on it. Doesn't cost you anything, helps me out heaps. So, yeah, as I said, we've got a 3060 Ti. Yeah, I seen that.
It was because it's related to that. You should have picked up.
Oh, well, I had missed calls. It was when we went out to the shops.
Oh.
And then we came back and we were doing this. So I was going to get back to Riley as well. But yeah, that's definitely exciting. So Ryzen 3600.
Piss off. Piss off, she says. Now you have $9.99. I've unsubscribed.
All right. No, it's good. It's good when you hit 1,000 subscribers and you've get enough engagement on the channel in terms of watch hours and stuff like that, YouTube starts taking your channel a bit more seriously. It's like the very smallest, very lowest possible tier of YouTube monetization. So hardly a professional YouTuber, but it's good to hit that mark because basically more people will see your stuff. If not, you're just one of the many small YouTube channels with under 1,000 subscribers and under 4,000 watch hours. So, alright, so we got a 16 gigabyte stick of RAM. So nothing special or anything like that. Yes, close that. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I've got to move. I got to move soon.
Once we move and settle in, hopefully we'll
We'll get you back to do some more stuff.
I've got to admit, Riley was a big help on getting us to 1,000.
Yeah, Riley helped out significantly doing the short videos and stuff like that. We can do more of that stuff, but like, yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Anyway.
Let's get back to this PC. So, look, I want to we had superposition on here. We have hardware monitor on here. Just want to get Heaven. I like Heaven because it's the one that I know the best in terms of like on a frame by frame basis and like knowing at certain points where certain failures are likely. So I do like to use it as a bit of a meter stick to diagnosing problems. Also like to use, where are we? Furmark. I do that for the stress tests because it runs a lot of power through the graphics card VRM and stuff like that. That's why some people say that it's dangerous to run Furmark, and potentially it is on older systems, but on a new system it's not a problem. That's why they give you warnings and stuff like that. Okay, so if I run Furmark there, we'll just have it running there in the background. And then let's run a bit of Heaven on full screen, max anti-aliasing and all that. Okay, so we don't have Reaver Tuner and MSI Afterburner installed on here, I don't think, by the looks of things. And so basically it's running as expected. So what are we looking for with all this? We're looking for temperatures fairly high, 72 degrees already. So I know you can't see that, I'm blocking where it's saying that. Okay. 73. What's the airflow situation like? Just the one fan there at the back. Power supply face down. Okay. $74. Okay, look, let's just stop this for a second. We're going to go back to that. But first, I'm going to install MSI Afterburner. Because one of the first things that I'll do, if it's a graphics card overheating problem, the first thing I'm going to try is, you know, maybe chucking a couple of extra fans in the case for a bit of extra airflow. We've got 3 fans on the front, 1 on the back, so we don't have balanced airflow. Like, there's more fans pushing air into the case than there is fans pushing air out of the case, so it might sort of heat up in that case quite a bit. And MSI Afterburner, regardless of what brand graphics card or motherboard or whatever we're using, it's software that we can use for that, to adjust our fan speed and all that kind of gear. It's good tech. You'll see it on a lot of people's PCs. Okay, so I'm not going to adjust any fan speeds on it or anything. Normally that's one of the things that I do, is I adjust the fan curve. But I'm not going to do that at this stage. I want to sort of diagnose the problem, because if I go in and make adjustments and then the problem doesn't happen, then I don't really know necessarily what the problem is. But I will set up the on-screen display, then everyone can see how it's running and what the temperatures are like. And so hopefully this one will be a relatively simple fix. Okay. So sitting there in the high 70s, just running this Vermark render. Just 1080. It's nothing too demanding, but still it's climbing. Let's go back to running Heaven. Alright, so GPU, so temperature, usage, clock speed, wattage, VRAM, which is this one here, usage and clock speed, CPU, temperature, usage, clock speed, wattage, RAM usage, and the frames per second. So we're kind of running 2 games here at the same time, just to be extra intensive on it. And now, with a graphics card, it will start to throttle if it gets to 83 degrees. Now, if it just keeps rising and rising and rising from this point, that could potentially be the issue. Now, they don't necessarily, like a card like this, they don't, it doesn't make any sense for them to bother tuning it right, because they'd love for you to think that the one that you bought, there's not enough and you need to spend another $1,000. They love that shit. They absolutely love that. But you probably won't love that. See, 76 now. So, I mean, like, it's almost at the point where it's like I don't even need to see anymore. It is jumping up and down there. But, you know, what's this look like after you've been gaming for 2.5, 3 hours? This whole thing's going to be pretty toasty. And I think that realistically, we don't even have to let it run and let it actually crash on us, I think we could realistically assume that it's probably that it's getting high in temp, and it's dropping down the wattage and the clock speed to cool down the graphics card to stop it getting too hot. Now we don't have the VRAM temps, but that could be getting quite high at the same time as well. $76. You know, that's within 10%, and we've just started running the benchmark. Okay, let's get out of this. So, oh, is that a chip out of the glass at the top there? I think it is. What have we got to work with here? So there's not much of a heat sink on the CPU. Like, there's a cooler on the actual CPU, but there's not much of a heat sink on the MOSFET and VRM. So that's another thing that can overheat over time. And so the fact that it's running fairly warm just off the bat, you know, it makes me a little bit concerned. Yeah, okay. 60, 80, 70, 100. We'll apply that as a fan curve. So that's a fairly aggressive fan curve there. Normally I wouldn't say that you need that, but this 3060 Ti is a small one. It's only got a fairly small cooler on it, just with the two fans. So yeah, let's just turn that up. Let's adjust that curve, and now let's go back and run Firmark there in the background, and we will run Heaven here as our primary, and so it'll make a little bit more noise, but I'm sure that's preferable. That's better. There we go, look at that. 63 degrees. 64, but that's still fine. That's nearly 20 degrees under temp. It'll run a bit warmer than that. Probably get 5 degrees hotter than that, I reckon. CPU 71 degrees. It can go up to 95. It's got a decent enough cooler. I might just suggest to the customer maybe we chuck an extra 2 fans on the top there, so we've got balanced airflow through the case. It'll just help get a bit more airflow over the motherboard as such, because I think, yeah, or maybe we have a quick look in BIOS, and I don't know, I'd still feel more comfortable having a couple of extra fans in this case, because this is a small case. small cases, I like to have balanced airflow, so volume in equals volume out. But yeah, I mean, you can see the difference that adjusting the fan curve has made to those temperatures. I mean, that is like a 10-degree drop just from me making some minor adjustments to the fan curve. So, yeah, that's generally what you do with these smaller cards if they're getting a bit too hot. You need to adjust the fan curve. Even on bigger cards, I normally adjust it just to be safe, because I know that it's less likely to I'm less likely to have a customer call me back with a problem with it set up like this. But yeah, what a difference. That's made a huge difference, and we're not even at 100% on our fans. We're only at 80% on our fans. And so when it gets to 70 degrees on the graphics card, that's when the fans will go to 100%. So we're not going to, ideally, we're not going to get anywhere near that 83 degree mark anymore. The only thing I'm worried about is just the CPU, because it's at 74 degrees, 75. It's just going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. I'd really like to put on either a better cooler. I mean, I can put on a better cooler if you want. We can put on a better cooler and put a couple more fans on there. I've even got one of these actually half decent AMD stock RGB coolers. There's a tank cooler. Look at that heatsink, massive. So I got one of them that the customer can potentially have for a good price if you wanted to upgrade the cooler without going, stupid. It's brand new, that one. It's still got the factory thermal paste on it. So yeah, that would be my recommendation for this one. So I'm gonna. It's probably pretty much all we're gonna do tonight, because it's all we have to do. Yeah, my next thing is I don't think I messaged this customer before I got started tonight, so I'll let them know that I've done this. I'll get them to have a quick look at the live stream, and then just to let me know what they want to do, and I'll install that cooler for them and the extra fans if they want to go that way. Yeah, see, look, the CPU spiking up. It's getting up to 77 degrees. This will get worse and worse and worse, and then it might even be something on the motherboard that's overheating, not so much the CPU. The only other thing I can suggest is a new CPU, a Ryzen 5000. That'd be a bit cheap, bit cooler. Hey John, how you going? Good to have you here. It was a little while ago. He's probably gone now. Yeah. Fluffy cat. Stop pulling your hair out, dude. It's not going to make the little dog go away.
After we move, if we're in a bigger place, he might feel better. And not chew so much.
I think also just having the graphics card fans tuned for purpose, that's made a big difference because the top of the graphics card, which is right under the CPU fan, that's not going to be as hot anymore by, like 10 degrees. So that's made a big difference. It's probably, like if they say that they just want to take it back and see how they go, don't want to spend any more money, that's fine by me. But yeah, it might be worth your while just to do some upgrades while I've got it. May as well. And then you don't have to worry about it. 78. You can get up to 95 degrees, but some stuff on the motherboard, it will start to cause problems at a lower temperature. And having a CPU that's, say, 85, 90 degrees in the socket could potentially be causing problems for other things it's connected to on the motherboard. Alrighty, well... Ugh. So yeah, I'm much happier with this. Now, the thing is that CPU will get a lot hotter under a bit more load. So, yeah. New cooler, some extra fans, and this one will be all good to go. And so I definitely didn't message him because my phone was flat and in the off position. Hey Darren, how you going? Good to have you here as always. But yes, we're all looking pretty good. Um, I don't have a. I don't think I've got a message or a number from this customer who dropped this off. I don't think I've got a text or anything from him.
Oh, surely you'd have a phone. Oh, but you don't know.
I don't know which phone number it is.
Oh shit! Now it's gonna sit downstairs until they'll be like, "Hey, so how's my computer going?"
Hopefully. Hopefully they know. Bloody hell. Yeah, like I'm just looking back at the numbers, and yesterday when he called me, I had like 10 other people call me yesterday from random numbers, so I don't know which one it is. There's like 3 around the same time that it could be. I don't want to be like messaging back random. Are you the person that dropped it? Oh well, they'll call me. They'll call me eventually because they'll want their PC back. And I told them that I'd look at it tonight and get back to them. But yeah, based on what I'm seeing here, it's running through. Firmark's running in the background. It's running fine, but if we hadn't made those adjustments to the graphics card fan speeds, it would probably be overheating by now. Now we've got a fluffy mow on the top of the PC. And that's, that doesn't help. Fluffy mow is not advantageous to your PC's temperature. They normally increase your PC's temperature because they like to sit on the top, usually on top of your radiator. That's where they like to sit. Mm-hmm. It's nice and breezy, but it's also warm.
How come the bottom fan at the front is only half lit?
Because the RGB elements in it are dead.
Oh.
So that's another thing. If the customer wants, we can put in 3 new fans, and we can move this back fan to the front, and then put 3 new RGB fans of the same style, 2 at the top and 1 at the back there. Then we can put in a new CPU cooler. It's a bit more heavy duty, and yeah, that'd pretty much be it. That's what I would recommend to it if it was my PC. What's up?
Oh, I just seen a video of fucking Linus with a bloody remote control lawnmower. Where's mine?
Linus with a remote control lawnmower. That's a very Linus thing.
Yeah. He's wearing his sandals like you.
Yeah, because he's kind of cool. He's kind of cool.
Yeah.
He's kind of cool. But he was like a bit of a Tesla fanboy. That made me lose a bit of respect for him.
Yeah. But how much was he paid though to be that?
I don't know. I don't think he was being paid. I think he just legitimately. Yeah, I think he was just legitimately expressing his opinion on the matter. Oh, this thing here wasn't on right. This back panel here. That's not the right bolt. Okay. No. No. No one messaged me, so yeah, that'll be fun. So hopefully this customer calls me back, because look, at this stage I'm pretty confident in my diagnosis here. It was just a case of a bit of a runaway heat effect here on the system. So we had the graphics card getting a bit too hot because the fans weren't sort of tuned, and that was putting out a bit more heat and probably getting the CPU and motherboard a little bit too hot. And then once they start to overheat, then the whole system sort of breaks down. So that's what will cause lags and all that kind of thing. Lag is normally a case of, yeah, your graphics settings are a bit too full on. Okay, so we're gonna. I got some internet plugged in. Doesn't meet the requirements for Windows 11. S2H. Okay, no worries.
Oh, fuck off.
What's wrong?
The dog peed, and I stood in it.
Ah. Okay, so we will get the latest BIOS for this motherboard because we do have a PC that's compatible with Windows 11. So we'll go and flash that new BIOS on there and make sure everything's all up to date on this end. That could also make a slight difference in temperature because part of these updates might be a more efficient way of using the Ryzen 3600 CPU that's there. It's obviously installing 22H2 on there. Okay, so this goes back to Colin with the first PC. That's his old CPU there. Now I never keep stuff like this unless the customer just goes, keep it, chuck it in e-waste, whatever. Always hand it back. One of the things that, you know, a dodgy PC place will do is, you know, they'll tell you all your parts are fucked, and then they'll keep all the stuff that you got, so they're sort of ripping you off twice. Number one, you didn't need to get everything replaced. And then number two, the parts are all good, so you think that they're just getting rid of them. but they're going to chuck them in a used PC and sell that. So if the place is, you know, transparent and stuff like that, should be no problems if you want your parts back. So, you know, sometimes I'll end up with extra parts that customers left me, and yeah, if they need them back or want them back, it's fine. They can always have them back. That's the way that it goes. But if someone's sort of wanting to take it, because if it's fucked, like if this CPU, if I was trying to say that this CPU was all good and still worked, then I shouldn't have any problems. I'd have a problem giving it back to the customer if it still worked, because that's something I could sell and make money on. But if it doesn't work, and I'm being honest, it should be, you know, you can have it back if you want. So it's not always a red flag, but do consider that when you're going into a PC place, because you might not be local, so you might not be able to come and drop your PC off to me for diagnosis and repair. And yeah, it's not, I don't want to say it's a dirty industry, because it's certainly not. It's certainly not dirty. But everyone's got to make money, okay? And I guess you just don't want to be, you don't necessarily want to be the sucker that rocks up somewhere for them to make a whole heap of money off. You don't want to be that guy. Okay. Alright, so now once we do this BIOS update, this computer will be all ready for a Windows 11 upgrade. So Windows 11 is a free upgrade from Windows 10. You don't need any technical knowledge to upgrade from Windows 10 to 11 or anything like that. I still only install Windows 10 on people's PCs because it's easy for them to make the choice, and then I don't have any people going, hey, how can I get Windows 10 back? I just want 10. It's easy, because if I install Windows 10, Microsoft will eventually prompt you and go, hey, like you'll turn your computer on and your Windows will load up and it will be a different screen with a different picture, and it'll be like, hey, you can upgrade to Windows 11. Download and install. This will be installed in the background while you work. And then the next time you turn off your computer and turn it back on again, you'll have Windows 11. It's that simple. So I know that it's no problem for the customer who goes, hey, I thought it was coming with Windows 11. It's like, oh, no worries. Just click on download and install when the screen prompts you to. It'll prompt you eventually. Just don't worry about it. It's coming. It's the same license key. It's the same product. You can actually switch between 10 and 11. They added a rollback feature to Windows 11, so you can go back to Windows 10 if you want. So it's a pretty cool feature. Oh god, I almost got PTSD from helping friends and stuff roll back their operating systems and stuff like that. I remember Windows Vista. Ugh. Getting people's pre-builts with Windows Vista rolled back to Windows XP. Oh man, that was fun. BIOS update feels like it's taking forever.
I can hear one of those fans is kind of labouring.
Yeah, yeah. There's. I'd say it's probably that one at the front. All right, so let's see one thing before I sign off. Let's see whether it's made a bit of a difference in terms of our CPU temperatures, just initially at least, with just that BIOS update, because it'll just be an interesting thing to check and see whether that BIOS update had any difference in how the motherboard handles that Ryzen 3600 CPU that's on there. I don't think it's going to make a significant difference, but like I said, sometimes you can find in those BIOS updates they've reviewed a certain CPU or whatever and how it's powered, and it just they make a heap of background changes there. Okay, we might not have had motherboard and chipset drivers installed. Or install Gigabyte App Center there. Yeah.
That's a purpose as hard BIOS cat.
Yes.
Oh, that background reminds me of Elfin Lead, kinda.
Yeah. I don't think it's meant to be Elfin
No,
Lead
it's
though.
not.
It's something
another
else.
anime or game. I'm assuming it's anime though. Oh, now I want to watch Elfin Lead again.
Yeah, it's a good one. So that PC doesn't meet the minimum requirements of Windows 11. That shouldn't be a thing anymore. Once it updates itself. Yeah, AMD chipset driver, and a couple of other minor updates there. Don't need any of that. We got RGB Fusion. We don't even have RGB Fusion. Let's just install that stupid health check app. This can be uninstalled, obviously. This is just a silly little Microsoft app. And basically, all it does is, when it wants to open, tells you that yes, your computer does indeed meet the requirements for Windows 11. And so that'll update itself. It'll eventually offer you Windows 11. So we've got AMD chipset drivers and a bit of other utilities and stuff that come with a motherboard that can be installed. Other than that, pretty straightforward here. So that chipset driver, that can obviously have an effect on how the CPU is handled. So make sure you always get that chipset driver downloaded and installed. Windows Update won't do it automatically for you. You have to get it from the motherboard's website. Or if you have a USB CD-ROM device and your motherboard came with a CD, you can get it off the CD, as well as all this software that we're installing here. Yeah.
Bloody hell, 6 gigabyte app store looks like something from 2002.
Yes. They actually have a new one, but it's not compatible with every motherboard. It's only on some of the latest Intel 700 series motherboards and the AMD 600 series motherboards. So it's only on the latest ones, but they have refreshed it and modernized this thing. I guess it's a case of if it's not broke, why fix it? And yeah, it's still the new app doesn't work properly with older boards, basically. Whereas this one is reliable and does its thing.
Jesus Christ.
Alright, we'll give it a reboot, just so those chipset drivers are installed properly, and then, yeah, let's give it a run. Let's see what happens. Let's see if there's a temperature reduction. But yes, I'll definitely talk to this customer eventually, and I will be suggesting a better cooler and some extra fans. Alright, so we'll do this as before. The CPU already on high temperatures there. I don't think it's made much of a difference, the firmware updates and stuff. I think the only thing that's really going to make a difference is a better cooler and a couple of extra fans. But hey, at least our graphics card dropped down 10 degrees in temperature just from adjusting the fan speed. So that's kind of good. Alrighty. Well, I think that's where we'll probably leave it for tonight. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, that fan, it's definitely got a couple of LEDs out on one side of the ring. So yeah, I'd ideally swap that one down there to the other side. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It's awesome that we hit 1,000 tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your support.
We wouldn't be here without you.
We wouldn't be here without you, that's for sure. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you all in the next video.